Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Essential, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. I have some exciting announcement to make. I'm going to be co-hosting a live webinar this coming Thursday, January 28th, with Frederick Patnode, and we're going to be doing the webinar on the 7 biggest mistakes people make when starting an online business in natural health. I'm really excited about this webinar, and it will be this coming Thursday, January 28th, which is in less than a day. It'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And the link to sign up is below, so just click on that link, put in your email address, and you're in. And it's a live webinar, so at the end we'll be doing question and answer, everything. So definitely come for the live event. And so I thought today what I want to do is I want to share with you one of the biggest mistakes I've made when I started Radiant Central. And this is a huge mistake. This is the worst mistake. And I would say if someone makes the same mistake nowadays, your business will fail. I promise you. It'll be so difficult to actually build a business from scratch if you do this one mistake. So I want to share it with you so you avoid this, okay? So the biggest mistake I made with Radiant Central was when I was putting Radiant Central together and deciding what it's going to be about and what it's going to represent and what I want to do with it. I was terrified of limiting myself. So I didn't want to choose a niche. I didn't want to choose kind of like a specialty for Radiant Central. I didn't want Radiant Central just to be perhaps about juice fasting or just about a specific diet or anything like that. I wanted it to be broad. And I thought that if I kept it really broad, like just about natural health or healthy living, that I would be able to connect to a wider audience. I was hoping I'd be able to help more people. I thought that I wouldn't be limiting myself and that I'd have more things to write articles or do videos about, all of that. I thought that by keeping it broad, I would just have more to do and more opportunity as well. And it was the reverse, okay? It made it really hard to actually build the website and build an audience. Okay, really hard for people to find the website, really hard for people to remember it, anything. It's like, it was too broad. And I see this a lot. It's like people in the same situation, the same kind of vision as me, is that they're terrified that they're going to be stuck with one topic. But at the same time, if you go too broad, you get lost. Pretty much your website gets lost in the sea of other websites, and it's harder for people to find. And so if there's one thing I can warn everyone is you must choose a niche. You must choose a specialty, a specific topic. And the more you narrow it down, the better, okay? Because if your website is specializing in one thing, it'll be much easier for people to find. A lot of times, one thing people overlook when it comes down to what a website is and what an online business is that it's all about making connections. It's all about building a relationship with your audience, and it's about serving your audience, and it's about offering information and solutions to your audience's problems and needs. And if you look at it in that way, your audience or your potential audience is trying to find solutions to their needs, right, or to their problems. And that's what they're looking for on the internet. And that's when your website comes up. And if you specialize in a specific thing, it's easier for them to find you. And the more that you kind of narrow down that specialty, the better connection you have with the right people that you need to be connecting with. Okay, so I want to give an example of this so you kind of understand what I'm talking about, because sometimes it's very hard to kind of get the idea of why it's so important to have a niche, to choose a niche, to choose a specialty for your website and what it's about and what it's offering. An example of that would be, let's say you're a vegetarian, okay, and you find out from your doctor that you have diabetes, and your doctor says you must go on a diabetic diet. And you go home and you look on the internet for a diet for vegetarian diabetics. And you do an internet search, right? And the results come up, and there's a bunch of websites. And all the websites have articles about diet for vegetarian diabetics. But the first website that comes up is the website naturalhealth.com. And the second one on the search engine that comes up is the American Association for Diabetics.com. And then the third one is dietforvegetariandiabetics.com. Which one are you going to click on? Most probably you're going to click on number 3, right? The website that is dietforvegetariandiabetics.com, right? Because that just from the title of the website that the website has the information you're looking for, or hopefully does, okay? And then suddenly you click on that website and you go to it and you see the article on diet for vegetarian diabetics, and you notice that there's all these other articles, right? And you see that there's recipes too, and they're all vegetarian recipes for vegetarian diabetics. And then you also see that there's all these success stories of other vegetarians that have diabetes, right? And you see that this website has everything you want in this one place. And instead of spending 10 seconds on this website, you're like on it for hours, reading all the stories, all the articles, and like planning out your meals. And you're really excited. And you might be so excited that you actually bookmark that website to make sure that you come back to it when you need it. And you might even be thinking about your vegetarian friends that have diabetes as well, that you want to send them over to this website because it's so great. And maybe even before you leave the website, you decide to buy their book, okay? You've developed a connection with that website because it has everything you want. And that website is a specialty website. It's a niche website. It's just for vegetarian diabetics, and it's diet for vegetarian diabetics. And so you're more likely to have a connection to a website like that than going to a website like vegetarianism.com or diabetes.com, because that stuff might offer you some information on a diet for diabetic vegetarians, but this other website that you just went to that is specifically for vegetarian diabetics, that's what has everything for you. And do you see the difference between like a general website and one that's very, very specific? And that's the kind, as being like kind of like an online business owner, that's the kind of connections you want with your audience, with each and every one of them. That each person that comes on your website, they don't want to leave because it's so good and it's exactly what they need and it's got more than they expect. And so the only way of doing that is by having a niche or a niche, okay? It's not by having a broad website, because when people are doing internet searches, they're not spending much time on websites. They're looking for information as quickly as possible. And the only way of grabbing someone's attention, that they're actually spending time on it and reading things and getting into it, is that it's all connected with what they're searching for. Okay? And so that was a huge mistake I made with Radiant Central, is that I thought if I went too specific, if I went too niche, I would limit myself. But in fact, by doing that, I have more opportunity to really make good connections with my audience and actually get like big fans, people that keep coming back and they're telling their friends and they're excited about the information there, rather than someone just clicking on and getting what they need and then clicking off and moving on. And so this is something I want to just stress, is that if you're thinking about starting an online business, think about narrowing down your topic as much as possible, okay? That nowadays, in year 2016, something like paleo diet is definitely not niche, okay? That's too broad. Even something like health coaching, way too broad. You need to narrow that down even more so that it's like paleo diet for middle-aged men that want six-pack abs, if you get what I mean, okay? Or like a health coaching for students that have diabetes. It's that specific, because what you want is that when someone gets to your website, the first thing that they think about is, this is exactly what I need. That they're like, hallelujah, this is it. I love this website. It has everything I need. I found my place. I don't need to go anywhere else. And if you're narrowed down your topic, that's what it's going to create. And you're going to create people that keep coming back. They don't forget you. But if you're offering a little this and a little bit of that, you water everything down and people do forget you. Okay, and that's a sad truth. Now, I want to give one more recommendation too, to those of you that may be in the same predicament as me, that you chose such a broad topic for your website and you're struggling with it and you're like, how do I fix this? What do I do? Well, there's two options. You can either sit down and think about, how you can narrow it down to a more specific topic, that's catering to a specific audience. Or you can also, what I've been doing recently is I've been surveying my audience. So I've been getting to asking my audience questions like, what do you like on my website? What do you don't like? What do you want more of? You know, and also finding out who your audience is. You know, are they male? Are they female? How old are they? All of that. If you can get to know who your audience is and what they want, then that can also help you to narrow down what your niche is going to be for your website and change it. Okay? And sometimes it's a slow transition, sometimes it's like overnight. But the main thing is that I would say to anyone that has an online business in year 2016, you must have a niche. And the more you narrow it down, the more focused it becomes, the better. I honestly can say is that no one can narrow down their topic too much. Okay, nothing is too obsolete, especially in natural health. And so don't worry that you're kind of restricting your opportunities or restricting your audience. Because the thing is that when you specialize in something, people will remember you. They'll look at you as a resource, even an authority or an expert in that field, and they'll keep coming back and they'll send people to you because what you have and what you're offering has everything in that specific need. Okay, so that's one thing. Don't make that mistake. Trust me. All right, so please join our upcoming webinar. It is Thursday, January 28th. At 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's in less than a day. And the link is below to join it. And we'll be talking a lot more about all the mistakes we've made and that we've seen other people make as well. And just things to avoid so that if you're starting an online business, you start correctly. And if you already have an online business, that you fix things up so you can make it even more successful. Okay? Because it's all about creating success. All right, have a super fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.